Hello friends, today I'll discuss about the concept of power in international politics. Now if you look at power, power is an ability to influence others' behavior. It is a capacity to dominate. It is a capability to controls other. And if you look at it is a something which shapes in the individual preferences. Sometimes it controls thought process. So look at the power in international politics. There are multiple forms of power in international politics. One is national power. National power is a summation of all forms of power a country has. For example, its geography, natural resources, leadership, economic growth, defense, civilizational value, um, you know, uh, then population, right? Public institutions, and so on and so forth. But there are two forms of power which is very popular. One is called hard power, another is called soft power. Now look at this hard power, soft power, and smart power. Now there is a smart power, right? It's basically this power was divided by Joseph Nye. He's a great scholar of international politics, and he talked about hard power, soft power, and smart power. Now, let me talk about what is hard power. What is hard power? Now, hard power is a power of any country to influence the other's behavior through economic sanctions or the military, force. So look at here the term that is talked about hard power. So two things you need to keep in mind, right? The stick and carrot. A stick and carrot. Now what is a stick? A stick means force. A stick means force. That is military power. Military power. Right? Now look at how country uses military power against other. The US and Israel has waged war on Iran in 2026. Operation named is Epic Fury. Now that is a completely hard power. Now another component of hard power that US has used against Iran, that is economic sanctions. Right? The economic sanctions, carrot means the economic sanctions, something that economically you have to compel the country. And this hard power actually influences the behavior of others. For example, look at the tariff war of the Donald Trump, right? Against its allies and as well as adversaries alike. So that is a hard power. So hard power of a country is basically its political power. That means the economic power as well as its military power as well as economic power. So hard power is basically military power as well as economic power. Economic power. Now, if you look at you know in at our own house, our parents uses it, right? So they use the economic power, right? But when you don't agree with them, then they use the coercive means to compel us to agree with them. Now look at this. The hard power is used by nation state. Now another power is soft power. Now what is soft power? Soft power. Now soft power is a power to attract others. It is a power of attraction. It is not power to basically influence by the force or by the economic sanction. No, it is something done by culture. If you look at culture, is a very important, right, to influence other. Right, now look at culture. There are different parts of the culture, like for example cinema, right, or news broadcasting, right, or for example a lifestyle. Now look at how US culture actually spread around the globe. Look at the Coca-Cola or Fanta or the drinks or the lifestyle that we live in today. That is purely, cultural power. And US has not forced any country to adopt it. No, the countries of the around the world has adopted it. So culture is a one. Look at, during the 1970s and 1980s, US has spread its cultural power in the Eastern Europe. And this is why, if you look at the Eastern European countries, has actually, transformed its economy and democracy, right? Because they were attracted by the cultural power of the US. Now look at, apart from the culture, you have a public institution, public or political values. Political values. Now what is political values? What is the country's belief? How they organize politically. For example, if you look at US, believes in democracy, and the US try to spread democracy around the globe, and it is one of the most important instrument in its foreign policy. So look at rule of law, free and fair election, free and fair election, respect for human rights, respect for human rights, right? Freedom of press, press, and others. Now look at how other countries have influenced by the free culture of America. Other countries have actually adopted it by its own willing. America has not forced it. However, in certain cases, America tried to force democracy, right? But in many cases, if you look at, the countries of the world have adopted it. So look at the culture, political values, right? Is a various instrument in the soft power. Now let me talk about what is India's soft power. If you look at India's soft power, how India using soft power. Now if you look at the civilizational value of India, right? For example, Vasudev Kutumbakam. Now the Vasudev Kutumbakam was a slogan during G20 summit held in 2023, and New Delhi, India was leading this summit. Now one world, one future, and one family is India's value, and India has actually attracted the world towards this value, civilizational value. Then Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. Now India believes in everyone should happy. Everyone should be happy. Now look at the another value you have, Vishwa Bandhutva. Vishwa Bandhut means the world fraternity that we see, right? Then if you look at the Gandhian value means the non-violence and satyagraha. That has influence around the globe, and if you look at leaders around the globe have adopted Gandhian value. For example, Martin Luther King Jr., right, who actually launched civil rights movement and adopted Gandhian value. Now look at National Nelson Mandela in South Africa. He adopted Gandhian value. So look at how Indian value is very much influencing the other country, right? It's very much credible and very much trustworthy in other countries. Now look at currently yoga, right? How yoga is spreading around the globe. Now India is exporting soft power. So if you look at the soft power and hard power, the hard power is always state driven. This hard power is always state driven. What do you mean by it? It is means it is exported by the state. The state is a major actor in facilitating hard power, whether it is a military or economic power, whether economic sanctions or economic aid. Now look at the soft power. It is basically society driven. Society driven, right? Now look at in the age of social media, there are viral videos, right, about the certain movement, right? So look at how this soft power is very much influential in contemporary world, and hard power is making world infamous. Look at the America's prestige or image actually has declined due to its war on Iran, right? So US Israel war on Iran has declined uh, its image worldwide, because scholars are describing US as a predatory hegemony or predator hegemony, right? While if you look at the soft power is very much credible, it can enhance image of a country, very trustworthy, right, and credible. Now look at India has another, like ICCR, Indian Council of Cultural Relation. This is the one institution that enhances India's cultural values abroad. It is exporting India's drama, attire, food, right, film, literature, yoga, right, to the other part of the world. Now India is celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav in different part of the world, and this is one of the diplomacy that India has taken, right? That is called soft power diplomacy, right? And this is way how India is actually trying to trying to increase its image around the globe, right? So this is hard power and soft power. I hope I am able to convey you the idea what is hard power and soft power.